Very good evening and welcome aboard to the Podium show every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review in the world of motorsport, local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene on this 28th day of April 2025. Only hoping and praying that everything has shifted away from the last time we did on this show. As usual, tugamba abakoze mfuna ebirungi tobaza Katonda tumusabe atusako nebingi byakuba bete bigwe then abachafunye mu buzibuzibu better suit tumusaba atemere kumpenda tumuko obuzibu tulivinga obulamu uli better. The Podium on FIFA TV neku 102.1 Fafama every single Monday tuba tuzena in the world of motorsport, local scene, African scene, as well as on the international scene as well. And as well, you can watch this program wherever you are across the entire world. Of course, the family app, just so downloading a app store, Play Store, you will definitely be able to watch FIFA TV. No cool is 102.1 Fafama wherever you are across the entire world. Better still in Zokwango Sanga for media services on Fa Complex, plot 879 Albert Cook Road, the Mengo, Novango Langa, 102.1 Fafama, or one Fufa TV. Name of Ugandan Sport will never be under the Fufa Media Services. The Keshomanza program, and Naeron Samba, as well as Starboy Lyric Enoch Olinga. It's been a while since Enoch last appeared on this show. I think it was Yajanga Nyum time Zidi. We were dominating and Nega was nga dominance si akakati ya kuda yabo wanyo wao akomo mwisho abuze anzaze yanga yete kama first sabbatical kuba mwisho le cyafuziza cyo nakikuru liwe baliko kasubire nti bino bisawo ndabina onozo muzigo wala kayanga bene bisawo bingi fe ulize muzigo mu return kale the case na Aaron ne lilo wetike kwa tamla program na kuno lwayo Aaron sabuze kwa tana watu uliza as well as Enoch, and we pick it up from there.
Batulaba ku Fufa TV naba batuliza ku 102.1 Fufa FM ngabulijjo libasanyo jerere bwefuna yakadde nenzija lelo yabadama zebanga naye mukaka Katonda nza ankwatirako nefuna obuddo obwo nsobola okuba wano ntogera ku muzanyo katisinga okwagala nga ffe ogemotoka zempaka siima yatusiima ddala bongera nyongera okusanyukira wamu namwe abafunye ebirungi mu wiki zetukubira amabega naye atera sirema kunakolera wamu namwe abafunye ebizibu kama abagumye abasibe ebintu ebinwa tutambule kama ya salawo era ya waira ya jawo so tugume tukeyongereyo muzanyo tuli maso yatutambula twabadde ne weekend kesho chikozo otya noleta Enoko
he had his own reservations in the performance of Toyota Spain, so he had that right now 1 2 3 4 5 gamba back with
7 8 9 10
the priority cars we attend I now 1 2 up to 5
so the event Canary Islands Islas Canaries. Then Pal is upon us. Weekend ja tujja kuba tuli mu masavu cruise zetegeka kujja tubeerewo doza mukama Katonda anatukwatirako bino tunatusobodde okukola tujja kutuukiriza era tulabe event ennungi naye mwami Kesh okay katukalekawo ngaloka kugunda kalikawo erinnya ne gundi nchali ko
okay akuyeyo sauda abikotemu ali yuluka kwa twana batuliza oba chakwagaliza okubera mutima waka addressing nga assistant CSC
kitaje kiyinza okukola for now
ate exit za fuluma olinacho oluzamu
emuzibu nayagala okukola Sunday 10 neziro yinga ku musanvu Sunday 3 yakigani agamba linda wali lindo olwokubiri
kwegamba twasomesa bulungi obale nyo pesho webedala era musanyifu okomawo akabaga kabadde kawanvu naye sabati kuzigira nezirumamu awo bingi ebyogeddwa mubulidde Keshi muganda wange yogedde bingi naye tujja biyosayosamu mpola mpola gye tugende eyo maaso kansobera mwenna muli balungi abatulaba n'abatuwuliriza mwebale kuwagira motorsports tubaagala nnyo tubaagalira ddala era mweyongerere ddala okuwagira sheeno mugiwagire nnyo kubanga ye batuusaako ebigenda mu maaso mu nsi yaffe ya motorsports adrenaline waffe bwe twagala ennyo ate mweyongere n'okubeera safe mu event zonna ze tugendamu kubanga kintu kikulu nnyo ne mukama nga bayongere okutuyamba benna abalina obuvune Mukama ajja kutukwatirako ffenna tuyise mu bizibu byonna bye tulina tudde engulu tukomewo tubeere n'obulamu obulungi.
Kale, you have a lot. The world of sport is so ngazi. It's full of activities. Over the weekend, of course, there were scenes in Spain. If I had been in Spain, I would have had a very good week because they had the WRC itself. At the same time, they had the MotoGP as well. So Narabienga, yabade Spain.
Yabade
masavu. I have a friend of mine who he studied with him at university. Ali Catalunya. Yabade for him he had a blast and Zaga traveling over that game between traveling over that game between Madrid and Barcelona and those are issues, but he had a blast. And those are salute to you, but nevertheless, even away from the motorsport itself, Uganda had any representation more athletics because we had three competitors.
UK marathon?
The UK, the London marathon. In Jacob Kiplimonga akola his first attempt on the marathon. Yakola ke ya 21 years the record, the half marathon record. Kati yakoze the first attempt on the 42 kilometer marathon and he came second behind Kenya's Sebastian Sawe. Nalabeko legendary Elliot Kipchoge yabaddewo, but I think he's losing out. He's 40 years now. I don't know, Gary 24. Steam is coming. First maiden appearance, Navera second. Then we also had representation in India. Joshua Cheptegei in Indonesia, but they all won the 10 kilometer marathon. And of course, Cheptegei yakajua ngule mirundi ebiri. So to have a day sport, then attend today no MotoGP. Very good. Sport is so wide. Weekend from Friday, I did the from Thursday.
From
Monday when you have Naim Police. I was following Adrian Fomo. Engage Yaria Kamaro Chiga the week before, so I was very inquisitive to find out Bishiba Yoga towards the race. I have over Madame Yam Sweet there. You don't have time for honeymoon.
Because it's over Mafuku going
just in the space of 1 week.
Yes.
Evans previously, the former. Evans, but former didn't talk about that. Let's hope. Okay, we'll kick it off with the F1. Again, Okubera Miami this weekend, and a lot has been going on in since the season began. One of those ones, if you acquire the previous race, was that penalty given to Max Verstappen. 5 seconds. Najamo Pit. One of the things, Nagaza call a countdown. I think I was shot by. I don't know how they did it. But guy Jamo Pit, but again not about kumoto holding. So where Jamo Pit and go 1 to 5. No since that count here, I had to almost 7 seconds. Nenga aba Red Bull bagamba it was 5. Kati for those that you take nyo risking wizo koze 5 efa inegamba mukoze 6
mukoze 4
because when you do 4 that's a disadvantage to you. Mukola 6 tebachifa kati twabala 7 nenga na to sense that within 5 seconds era hona yagamba that they have practiced that over and over because they expect such to happen. Nega ya losing a race by only 2.6 seconds. 2.6 seconds. When I are very, very proud of it, Yagamba, okay, we are close, but because Max has won there several times, I think he's dominated for the last 4 years, even pole position, but you get a feeling that this year, we keep talking about it, it's either him or the two McLaren cars, either Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris, and I just get a feeling that it could be Oscar Piastri's year because of how he's really performed, winning the last 2 races. I think it's the first driver this year.
Back 2 races.
Max Chatakoze, Ichibade record Germany this year is that he has not been on. All the previous races have been one from pole. Katiyati Yachikola, the last race where you expect him to be that dominant. Okay, let's first go in for a short commercial break. Come out. Twitter me again Okurange Tamani one guy to deco about Spain. The WRC which was totally dominated by the Toyotas. They have done that. Totally dominated by the Toyotas. On that short commercial break, it's the Podium back every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review in the world of motorsports. Full house, it's Aaron Sambane, Enoch Olinga, Starboy, I know some guys want Starboy Nenga. I know side in that Jetero Kwesanga, native performing of late. Let's hope it's not been a year for you, boy. That break, by the way, the F1 which is upon us this weekend in Miami. And literally, what has been your take so far this season? The Rockies are performing really, really well. And Kimi, the show we did the Atwaji Corandos and it was Emma, social secretary F1 Uganda, then Ibra.
Yes.
We were talking about which team has the best pairing so far, maybe and talked about the one between Kimi and Rasonga, a bit unbalanced, but try to get Ham ne Laklak ne very balanced, but
very balanced.
Yeah, because Laklak and Hamilton, yeah, they have the experience. one of Russell outweighing
experience
Kimi,
level.
Yeah, but I don't know what's your take has been so far.
Yeah, season has been quite interesting, I would say. Of course, to have a power shift all the way from last year, I think middle of last year going towards the end of last year, McLaren all of a sudden, it came out of the bag of where they were hiding, whatever they were hiding,
So end of last season.
Yes, end of last season, exactly. So when last season, we had a clue already where the power shift was going, coming from Red Bull going into McLaren. Nayenga, I have been a little bit shocked mu performances za McLaren. Why? Inti omanyi tuina eyunga bogambe tuina kachati ketubera mwao trying to break down Formula 1 nebigenda maso. Nitwebuuza nti McLaren bagenda ne hiring some strategies from Ferrari oba kuba ina decision ezimu ze bakola these days in terms of their strategy that do not make a lot of sense. In terms of when they decide to
call someone to
exactly
box.
To call to say let them box in Lando before Oscar whatever. The chikulaga nti the kind of strategy they are playing is they're playing a strategy on Lando's side more than they're doing on Oscar's, So you could I think over it was the Chinese Grand Prix nenga bagera ne bapitinga Lando first ne bamanda bayingiza Oscar ate nibagana Oscar kuisa Lando, and yet Oscar felt he had the car and the tires to take on and go chase down Max, so Sitegera strategy McLaren jerimu kozesa, and unfortunately in my opinion that is what is going to derail them from winning a championship this year. Nenga, definitely we've seen the car is capable of doing that, the drivers seem to be very capable of doing that. Unfortunately waliwo power swing out kati team jerina okugezaako okubalansinga between Lando and Oscar, because clearly gotunula decisions in the last couple of races the team seems to be backing Lando. Naye unfortunately Oscar seems to be
putting out the performance.
Exactly, the outbreak, the one who is performing more than everyone else expected. So aerodynamic again kubera very, very interesting okulaba how the team is going to handle that at Katinzendo was a championship again relying on how McLaren handles these two drivers moving forward. Ate ngatewelabidde in the wings, in as bad as Red Bull is, Max Verstappen is looming.
Yeah, he is,
and very, very large.
Yeah, and he's doing it alone because Yatanikane Lawson, Bameza Mwades, when the season is just beginning.
Yeah, very true. For save for 2021, where Perez had an outbreak performance, Kubanga Manufacturers Championship without what Perez did, they would probably have struggled so much, but they finished second behind Mercedes because Perez was actually performing, but Bojako 21, no Gatako 22, 23 and 24. Max has literally been doing it himself alone. No, so he's really very accustomed to doing it alone. Ela tobera onemboze tuseba tunyumene tugamba nti maybe ngabagamba nti moroka bagizimbira Max yeka chevaba driver la tebasobola kujivuga, ina aggressive style ngeri javuge motoka, so it makes it quite interesting. Nayenga sagala Mercedes Benz ate tujireke wala nnyo kubanga they seem to be trending upwards. Atenga wagambye the balance of the drivers might not be what Ferrari has between Leclerc and Lewis. Nayenze ndoza in terms of rookies, Antonelli has been exceptional.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's been really. Though his car is yet to maybe, because there's a time he won the drive of the day, but let me input you on, because literally I got the question, which is very, very crucial about McLaren making that decision on who is that driver this season. Because that time, that race, Najira Bangolava anti Oscar had the pace, he had the tires, but they just simply didn't make that call. Bagama, Zach Agamba, it was too early for them. They are letting every driver go out, but you see, the season is progress. Out of 20 races, so far you've done 4. You're going into your 5th race of the season. The record that is there, and this guy won his first race there. Lando Norris, yes. I think it's high time for McLaren. Maybe, but they have the data and everything. But I think it's high time for them to make that decision because Max is pouncing on those 2 cars.
Yes.
How many Bob and Yini does that ever will be the destruction of themselves. Kubanga already what they the land is required driver basing on how is performing. Na Piastri baba take points on board is doing that performance. We are not even halfway the season. What in my way, why do I can't mulwane chamwa. Tukanga time yetu senti kati kusalawo wana accumulating ze nyingi lontannaba so back him up tugende maso. Otherwise right now they are distracting themselves. Ngabo mugambi ono musajja amasa agatadde waliri mu mukole era azizamwe nze nja ku pouncinga mbalieke ekintu kyamwe. So kiri mu mikono gyabo okukitwala. Bwe banaba kisiza bulungi bajja kukola bulungi. Ne banaba bakhandolize bubi, trust me, one man army jakujanga ye.
Yes, kwa I mean he's proved it
all the time. Wana yeka bam now back nega sinyo. He can do it himself.
Disappointed with the performance of Hamilton so far this season?
To be honest, yes and no.
Start with the no part.
No part. I mean, new team, new car. Nti chitwalo obudde okuyingira team empya after over a decade spent with one team, understanding that team and knowing the team kati yali was a family. Mercedes was a family. Kati ate ayingide team erina extremely different way of doing things. Ochiraba ayingide family, all the simplest of things. Language barrier is very huge. Nti the Italians speak Italian. Ateka Taola Clark, exactly. Ateka Taola Clark walina advantage enene. Nti for him he speaks Italian. Lewis does not speak Italian. Era yalina mu off season okugeza ko kuiga Italian. Alawe how to bond with the team. So no, in fact it is the fact that what shall we to be within the dynamics of the team. Biatanaba he's not yet accustomed himself to. Of course abantu bajagamba. Yeah, but he won a sprint race. He's a legend. A legend who always figure out a way.
Ever since the introduction of the sprint races, that was his first sprint race.
His first, exactly. You know, he's a legend, so he'll always figure out a way okuwangula at least something, say like a sprint. Yes, in terms of his experience level, he's a 7-time world champion. You know, naye okulaba nti atuse watuse ngane okuyingira top 5 is seeming to be a very big struggle. You know, awogambira nti really has it always been, let's say 60% the car and 40% Lewis? That comes into mind. Exactly. Echo kijja in your mind notandika okuloza nti why abagamba nti awo Max wagenda okubeerera omulala nnyo ku Hamilton ogamba muti maybe they had a point okiraba because twakiraba after the era of Mercedes domination ended, their car became one of the worst on the grid. And you would have thought, okay, Lewis has been with the team, abadde ne team okumala ebbanga ddene, so ayinza okutegeera engeri y'oku adjusting how he drives to suit what the car is. Unfortunately, ekyo tetwakiraba. You know, so okuyingira mu team empya, of which in his own words leading up to the first test he did yagamba there's a lot of improvement that Ferrari has done. Okuyingira ku point eno, so we believe the season should be a little bit more joyous for Ferrari, and we expecting a lot, but naye unfortunately tulabye, so that is the yes part for me.
Disappointed with Hamilton?
Cruise and the biased. I
want to reserve your comment. Reserve your comment. Miami anticipations?
Yeah, well, Miami anticipations are, I mean, Jagam, of course, McLaren has the upper hand, without a doubt. Naye ranga bwengambi, omusajja oyo, tuina group ya F1 tumuita the sheriff. The sheriff for it again abawalanyo, but of course, I'm expecting definitely top spot in Jakubera between Lando and Oscar. Again, comes down to the team and engage decisions about among those two. Atene chidala Aaron Chayogedde. Season ezo kulabikanga echali into, but here is the thing. bully decision you're taking, even as early as
The
4 races in,
yes.
those decisions can impact you down the line. That 1 point they were missing is Oscar Kufuna. It
has a trickle down effect on the
It has a trickle down effect. So I just hope McLaren back clarifying the air between the two drivers. They don't know how they are moving forward, but definitely I would look at them as being at the top.
Yeah, and the championship is over. Though it's still early days, is the constructors because they are putting points on board. They are leading it. The drivers are putting points on board because in the last race, Lando he started 10th. He ended up finishing 4th. At Piastri, Tiata Max in the first corner because that's why he won the race.
Yes.
You get a feeling if Max inga amuleka namufira ko bufizi nasigala nga mukipinga mu DRS range until because one thing I've noticed about the race control races is after the first lap that's they enabling all the DRS as the race begins, but after 1 or 2 laps Walanga track it clear, then they enable it. So there were 50 laps or so. You had chances of doing it. I think again the gamma am closing and in seconds is 0.6 Piastri and Piastri is proving that Sobola maintaining Chabachi mukoleranga ogamenti last season. Yaina race in his hands na pitinga Lando na kulembere Hungary orders nezijja ndi mukulu give way Lando na the Piastri won the race so ngaba expecting Lando to return the favor never that kola is a team player. One thing I like about him
very much
and but I just get a feeling that to go all the way
okongera just shortly ku kwecho choyogedde botunira racecraft ya Oscar in line with Lando. Oscar has better racecraft than Lando. Oscar has more aggressiveness. Chevola Banti in that first corner he was able to fend off Max. If it was Lando, I have a very good feeling Max would have crept into the top. So that instinct that Oscar has, Nzengamba McLaren building that if they want to get a champion out of it. But Omani Lando, I don't know whether it's the British thing of being a little bit laissez-faire. If we're being honest, the media world is biased against the British drivers. Let us just be honest.
When I read a race, Bari Bagamba Lando Piastri yakoze jump start because there was no way where that's also Maximo Cornelio. There was no jump start. Okay, away from that, the race is upon us this weekend in Miami. We'll definitely get back on Monday. Good willing to Wawuli in episode of Kubanga. Of course, McLaren back to opens the drivers and the constructors. The drivers is headed by Ethiopian Oscar Piastri. Then the constructors still Ethiopian the McLarens. Let's watch the space.
McLaren.
Sadia McLaren kayade
nkutinde nzenchalinda mujozi gwa Uganda paka na
gwera akusalire shope bazigale ewe ukashoba kolencha erako. Okay, away from this F1 katugende mu WRC rally about Spain and Aaron, you take on the event, but Toyota is just doing what they did in Safari previously. How many years down there? By Nako 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which year was that? Mutamaka.
Kutamaka. Vak 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No,
but there was 6, 7, 8, 9. There are no comments. Mbele ko international. Muganda wange hamu ajja kugweddalu olunaku lumu yeyambule naye resi yabadde eddala nnyo. Omanyi simanyi waliwo omuntu gwe nagambye nti omusajja nalabika yazuukukidde on the right side of his bed in Kalen Vampera. These performances are not on his favorite surface. Nga situmanyi kale okuba tamak spring driver. Tetuchimanyi munyo. Okay, usually comes and maintains nabit out there and about. The dominance was twatu senga tutandika osanga muntu stage ewedde ti ani ko. Okay. 9 ewedde ti ani ye. 10 ewedde ti ani ye. Netufuuka luyimba ye ko oli ye kega kiyakoze kyakitegedde naye Toyota yalaze nti overall yatereze emmotoka eno naddala badde sinakiraba nnyo ku gravel apart from the endurance gyeyina mu safari badde sinakiraba nnyo nti wekivaayo nnyo naye ku tamak eno kyavuddeyo nnyo nti stability y'emmotoka eno omanyi stability y'emmotoka eyo the more twist eziri mu tamak ekikuwa envuga y'emmotoka ennungi njukira waliwo Greg Mustako yaviiriddeko n'asurviving omuti naye ng'olaba speed kale gy'akaalira into that corner ate ye n'ayitawo with ease nga ekulaga nti there's a very big problem emmotoka ndalamuko so simanyi naye weekend yatambudde bulungi ffe aba Toyota namukwano gwange jo yesi wa Toyota wa driver tawagira Toyota awagira Evans and then I have a sympathizer in John Consta ye wa Evans I want that guy to one day win the championship kati abo bawagizi beku naka ye mwana waffe wali awo mutande and is maintaining perfectly so Toyota 1 2 3 4 wow and those are Yali Jali those are he's a very proud man.
What a performance from Toyota. Surprised by this performance? Before you get into the stats, because the stats in UGANDA, you are cleaning everything.
Honestly, probably not. Wachi inti okuva season weyatandika. Unfortunately, Hyundai has been struggling all the way from Monte Carlo. Twachira be Monte Carlo inti bali okufuna balance of the car. The balance of the car was completely off. Atenga echewunyisa until they had time throughout the whole of last year getting into the off season. Improving a certain parts of the drivers these are the issues that we're having with the car, so we need to change the suspension dynamics, we need to change diffs, probably upgrade the engine. Naye okulaba nti bagende mountain emmotoka empya, it did not work, though twali a little bit lucky okuvayo some decent points. Netugende Sweden, they were having a very very surprise podium from Thierry. Naye nga ate ekyewunyisa nti Sweden ate emmotoka empya si gye bavuga. Badde bavuga enkadde. Okiraba ye yajjayo performance ya Sweden. Ate tukyaliwo bagenze mu test were preparing for Safari Rally. Ekisooka normally WRC teams test in the same country because according to the regulations tebasobola kutestinga out of Europe.
Yes.
So most of the teams bali testing in Portugal. Oich nagamba naye conditions za Portugal tezimatchinga na Safari ndio zije tugenda. Hyundai ne shifting the whole thing ne bagende Spain kundonya conditions zali suitable. Which I believe must have worked because performance
because bafana a third position kali. Bafana podium kali.
Third position what? Second and third nalimo rally control nayenga esanye inagitereke eri wansi kubanga bubera assistant COC ate ne bakulaba naye
ogenda muselebrate
yeah, so I mean ate era okugenda mu Safari era tebakozesa motoka mpya basala okozesa motoka nkadde so notandika okwera n'ogamba what is going on ku motoka empya eno gye bagamba nti they've upgraded and they've improved from the previous version but bakagivulako rally emu yokka it has missed two rallies in a row kati neweebuuza ate jjukira according mu mateeka tekikirizibwa ku testinga beyond a certain limit. You can only test within I think 2 or 3 days or something and do a certain and in that osobola kufuna only a certain amount of mileage which is not very good mileage for you to test. So okweyongera okutestinga obulungi to find out an issue oyina kuvuga motoka during competition, so
you drivers they pick data,
exactly, you drivers they pick data. So neweebuuza nti why did they have to miss these two races? Kuba that means tebalina data for those two races. They already identified balina ekizibu from Monte Carlo, so you would think okay, every other rally we are doing we're trying to improve maybe what the issue was. Unfortunately ekyo tebakikola the last two races in Sweden and Safari kati ate ne bagenda ne bagwa ku event nga Canaris. Canaris is a very very specific event, the type of tarmac ne technicality. The car's geometry has to be absolutely on point. Eino kubeera absolutely perfect. Nze nkugamba rally yantabukako Friday by mid-morning. The quickest Hyundai is down by 30 seconds. I was when I want to nothing is going to improve from here. Kuwa nga Erod Bwagambye botunulira pace college yaliko notunulira pace ojeji yaliko nga mubutuufu ogamba unless they are going to drive off the road tewali ngeri Hyundai jegenda kukomawo okufuna anywhere near the podium. Awolabira nti Toyota really had their car properly set, the geometry was right, buli setting gye bagezangako ng'ekola naye unfortunately Hyundai tewali, nothing worked. No setup change worked, no geometrical change worked. Tanak Netulab, I think on Sunday going into the power stage, yes. The same issue Jiyafuna in Monte Carlo again happens to, the same problem of fluid flying through to the windscreen. Kwegamba mubutuufu Hyundai yatuse a canary singa tebetegekedde chebatukiddwako
bagudde ku lubambula
bagudde ku lubambula.
Okay, we're going for a short commercial break. Tukoma watu waisa kwa stats zakoze event here. There are 18 stages. Karuvampera nga producer watu wale he won 15 out of 18 stages including the power stage. Let's get back after a short commercial break. Commercial break is Podium every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review the latest in the world of sport. Into our last hour of today's program, Aaron Samba, assistant CLC, part of Africa 2025. 2025.
Neno kachichuse chiche. Deputy CLC.
Part of Africa Rally.
Safari Rally.
Safari Rally 2025.
Ile shikuru.
Obarachi Oleza sabatiko yali yabwiri
gane producer achuse national tracross champion kale plan that break to get for the rest but about stats. You talked about Toyota's dominance as we go into the stats out of 18 stages. Toyota. No, rather, Toyota. Okay, Toyota's the new Capitan winning 15. I think is getting to where he does it best. I think he did it as he did it previously by where he won previous championships.
Try to do
last year yali nnyo.
Try to umwaka guno. Last year okuba Khaled yavuga twachiwa chance nti the number twos, who we thought are number twos. Bakolichi, ba competing bulungi in Evans and Thierry, and one of them took it. Actually, nimenyo singata nakayaja najitwala. Hii chikubira last year. Nalinja yara kwa babiri kuba kuva agitwara perfectly nikikolaga bukino kubera Thierry najitwara tanaka twite tugwetaga mu bintu bino. Tukomyeyo ku luno omwaka guno dala oli eyagenda smiling assassin oli yali agenze nga agenda mu sabbatical si yakomawo. Twakomyawo mulala awo nga atubuzaabuzamuko nga two time world champion nendoza kano ke yakoze kawe ka minds abantu papati sivangawo wendi ate era nkyasobola okukikola. Yes.
Yeah, looking at the stats of the of the event, there were 18 stages in total. Kyle Vampera won the stages 15. Sebastian Oja won the stages. Billy Efren Evans won the stage for Moemo ne Yohan Russell na wangula ko stage game.
Bade manyi Fomo genda mu. Manyi lero watabuse.
A win ya Adrian Fomo out of 18 stages. He would die in a stage win.
Tochigumiza nnyo.
Of the 3 cars.
Tochigumiza nnyo.
The camera. Of the 18 stages. Hyundai bawangula stage game. Toyota bawangula 15 for Kale, 1 for Oje, 1 for Evans. So total bawangula 17
out of 18.
Okay, 115 out of 18 by the way. Ochitegedde ndo.
Panise tata.
Panise yangu stages mbili. Tukijja obulungi. Oje yangu debiri Kale 15, that's 17. Then wali wa guy ne bafuna mwemu. But rally leaders, Kale Vampere yakulembedde rally from the start of the rally. Paka ku end of the rally.
Yeah.
That is absolute dominance. Gina kusaba ekintu ekitatera kulabirwa ku show eno. Mukulu Enoch, join your hands and round of applause to the Toyotas. Please do it.
Njakukiriza. Omanyi
Bravo Toyota, bravo.
Tuno kubera.
You have to clap until I said it.
Omanyi as sportsman, tuno kukiriza mu kyabayita sportsmanship. Nti wabeerawo embeera ng'eyatuusewo this weekend. Ne bakukuba hands down nga tolina ogenda kwekwasiza ne mbutuufu era tuwadde tubinawe tujja kwekwasiza. Toyota yazze netukuba netuuza newankubadde abamu bayingidde calvert zesitaategedde pressure yabadde yaki but
mukwano gwange ali atya
mwatukubye Albert wali Albert akyali mu let's see the next one.
Yeah, 60 entries, 53 finishers. That represents an 88.3%. Rally za tamak tezea kuona.
Yeah, exactly.
88.3% rate. Then of the 60, 53 za komyeo, 7 dropouts or did not finish. That's the kind of rally you want in Pearl.
Okay. Just prepare your cars. It's a two-way thing.
Portugal definitely bring up. But I think where is the championship this year?
Well, championship, in all honesty, I mean, twaba mu safari ekintu ekitabanga in the history of the WRC. That was the biggest point leads gap 3 events into the championship. So Evans yalabikira ddala nga championship agitaddeko omukono ogusooka naye eno performance generally from Kale in Spain era off air tubadde tuwayawayamawo ne Aaron ne mugamba Kale gwe twalabye Spain ye Kale wa 2022 wangula his first championship wanga yavuganga rally n'abakuba stages nga 10 out of 18 ne power stage n'agigatta maximum championship points is exactly kyeyalaze in Spain. So nze ngeri gyekiraba unfortunately nga Aaron bwagambye Evans ayina abawagizi be gye bali bangi abamwagaliza naye unfortunately Kale Vampera has arrived. The baby-faced assassin has arrived era nze ndaba championship eyo eya this year singa nali musiri wa sente singa njisiba ku Kale nze ndaba Kale agenda kuwangula this year's championship. Tombuuza bya Hyundai.
Kale Vampera agenda kuwanga championship ya this year, quote unquote, in a clear yolinga. What I want the shakedown. You want the shakedown. This kind of dominance has 10 so in
talekera yo munne
najifuna ko baida
maybe alekera wachi yamulekera mwaka mulamba
maybe chatoto kubanti baina even that advantage of they have 5 cars on the grid. Okay, omo kale touch scoring but 5 cars on the grid. Hyundai baina satu
that
inga Ford baina bidi. Those are the 10 cars 10 P1 cars ezali mu event eno. So get a feeling to have an advantage.
Yeah, of course, by an advantage.
So for ages, as long as Ford keeps nominating two drivers,
yes,
they will never win the manufacturers championship at that level. It should either better Hyundai over the Toyota.
Over Toyota. Yes. Unfortunately, unfortunately nina mukwano wange omulungi ennyo Podium the fat bombola akyebuuza paka na leero Hyundai wakyerwalinga motoka 3 ne mubuuza nti boss mwe muleeta 5 kakati waki oyagala ffe tuleete 2 it is already unfair.
Yeah, but of course, the regulations governing that. Yes. Just know that these guys trying to explore as much opportunity we want to explore. I was speaking to some guy, Chembe connected me to some guy in South Africa. You're competing at rally Spain. So I was talking to him today earlier on. Was about the kind of terrain. Nenga gamanti Toyota in advantage. One, even just the number. Alone having 5 cars in an event is just Joli wata performing never mind whether all of them don't put points on board, but it's enough to show the Toyota where they are. Kati vampira wangola stage go what Toyota now, you have to pull your socks up so that they also try to replicate what Kari has done. Kati ravana vanga vasami payari. This guy is a lad for the future in my view, and nature decisions I think they are destined for them. Then of course for more Hyundai by no correct decision you want to Ford but he has not really okay, maybe it's early for him, motor campia, but I think he's even performing much better than Oliver Solberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Oliver yasigale
yadde ate kati wali nze eyo move nagiraba as a strategic move. Bwojjukiramu sometime last year waliwo akafalanyi akafuluma during I think either it was an ERC event or a local event in Finland. Akalatvala ne Oliver nga bakutte emikono. You know, so somewhere somehow ninga alaba the Solberg family balina kyebagezaako okulukaawo n'okumuteeka mu rally ya Toyota okugezaako okubuildinga line kuba tiimu gyalimu kati Sami Payari gye yawanguliramu his rally 2 championship last year. Ate it is the team that has led him into the main team. So nze ngamba oba Solberg balina kyebafumba which probably is maybe at some point ayinza okuddamu nafuna opportunity eyo. Hopefully the WRC continues going the way it is going kuba wakyalimu enjogera nyingi ezigenda mu maaso between where the championship is heading, the future of the championship, vis-a-vis the regulations, vis-a-vis what the promoter is expecting, vis-a-vis what the manufacturer is expecting. So that of air mbadde ngamba Aaron nti waliwo omuliro mungi abantu gwe batali mu kulaba oguli emabegaawo oguboyiringa. You know, there's a lot going on. So if at all championship etuuka wetuusenga we are going to see more of the championship going, we have more manufacturers coming on board, tomanya Oliver Solberg ajja kubeera nayo opportunity, but again nga bwogambye nti for more is performing way better than Oliver ever did. You know, kati
okay, maybe different setup of cars as well.
No, not really.
Nevertheless, ali mu Hyundai nguli we yali akali kujja tugamba nti biri nti izali setup ndala maybe
olaba n'ekirala ekikyukamu is personality, driver personality ekyukamu nnyo. Unfortunately engeri Oliver gyakuzeemu in the rally world, his father has been part and parcel of each and every decision. And fortunately, I will say, I am privileged to a little bit more information than probably other people may receive, you know. Era waliwo yangamba, one of the engineers yangamba nti ekyalemesa Oliver yalinga taata we. Nga Oliver asobola ovuga emmotoka n'afiringa ayina setup egenda okumukolera nti atawe namugamba so kogezeeko eri setup obagezaako eno. Ate you know him being the only son, the family has put so much behind him okumutuusa waali akkiriza n'agamba kale katugezeeko. Unfortunately that didn't work for him. Okiraba, so different personalities okulaba ne for more engeri gyayingiramu rally and how he's been driving and the kind of personality he is, you know. Actually tutandise omuyita the life of the WRC right now kuba posts zonna ziri quite very interesting pre-event, during the event, after the event, you know. There is so much engagement for Mojale SMU, so you can just see the kind of personality he is and it's translating into his driving. Eranze ngambo kugenda okuyingira Hyundai, it was actually the time. Kuba singa yasigala mu Ford, I do not think he would have progressed to
I think right they must have thought a lot about it.
Definitely.
Because Hyundai bali banonya, they're looking for a third driver, and Odin Fomo was the best in that slot. Okay, carry on the event. 2 hours 54 minutes 39 seconds and 0.8 seconds. 2 hours 54 minutes 39 seconds 0.8 microseconds. Muchoke Madam Oje bampe seconds atano mu 3.5 microseconds. Muchoke Madam Elfin Evans bampe dakika seconds 17. Takamoto Katsuta bampe dakika 2 seconds 2.
Komao
Adrian Fomo dakika 2 ne seconds 3 mwemu. Oy Tanak dakika 3 seconds 15 Tanak adene penalty ya 10 seconds. Event dako bagenda Portugal. Nendo was ngatuva ku WRC tugere ku the Pearl of Africa, which is upon us from the 9th up to 11th. Kayogede ku the future of the WRC. And twalione Haji Mamanja togeda ku we are previewing the safari. I think we are either previewing or reviewing it, one of the two. In fact we are reviewing it. The world has very many people. But millions and millions. Yeah. But there are only 10
WRC World Rally Car 1 drivers. Only 10.
Yes. About 2 bands. Because there are very many countries having those. No Uganda, you know MotoGP over the WRC.
Yeah.
But the drivers are bad work mabega. I think even luck meets in there. The driver, I just get a feeling even up to now, Yanwadoko champion of WRC. Miko.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I didn't have a chance to go to the of course. But
exactly.
Okay, but you just say
Zendoza, he got the best out of Rob. Teri mulala yali badate kalobuku. Bagundi eyo ngambi ko chiyakola.
You are not close yet or as far away.
Yes.
Close yet or as far away.
Atekati okugatako Aaron kyagambye nze ninamu different view. Nti singa Marcus Grönholm extending his career for another 2 years. Loeb would never have dominated the way he did. What was the championship year 2007? Marcus Grönholm lost that championship with one mistake. Rally GB,
yes.
Boyaja sliding and Akubo Mutiogo, and he dropped out of that event. That is how Loeb won in 2007. But if you remember clearly, that was the last time before Eraya Oje were M-Sport. That was the last time M-Sport ever won a manufacturer's title. Unfortunately, so comes in Miko Havonen. That Aaron Wagambi. It was just a bad error. It was absolutely a bad error. Miko was quick, but Miko was not as precise as Sebastian Oje. He was not that precise. Ateche chintu che yagezaako. Unfortunately, waliwo decision je yakola we yasalawo n'agamba nti kanve mu Ford ate ngende mu Citroen omwali maybe nja mukubirawo. Kati olaba decision eyo for people who are very ardent followers of the WRC yali ekoleddwako before in 2005 omuvuzi gwe bayitwa François Divar from Belgium. Naye yagamba yalina opportunity. He was a very good upcoming driver, just like Miko Havonen Gawe yali. N'abeera ne opportunity ne bamugamba nti M-Sport okuwa contract bweti Seto ne kuwa contract bweti oyagala genda wa ate nga contract ya Ford yali quite lucrative n'agamba sigena genda mu Ford kangende mu Citroen omusajja oyo mukube mu motoka ye yennyini. That was it. I think that season yamalako rally zalinga 5 endo za rally ga 10
no mara eyagezaako okay these guys have dominated. Sebastians have dominated Ocean Loeb ate buli wabadde difference was away wakati wa Loeb ne Ocean than one in a row kuna badai waninga they are not consecutive.
Yes.
But the that's why someone keeps telling me that there are callings in life. Name sport mulimu callings.
Yes.
Latvala's calling is in administration.
Absolutely.
You saw him trying to push Oje to the limit. But still Oje nga wagambe precisiveness yamanganya Oje na Latvala name kyagana.
Ate kati bogezaako noddayo katono nnyo mu history n'otunulira Oje bwe yatandikira bwe yajoin bwe yava mu two-wheel drive junior Citroen team n'ayingira the junior WRC team.
You can remember yali teammate ne Konrad Rottenberg.
Yes, Konrad Rottenberg ne Evgeny Novakov bona bali in the junior team. So yatwala nnyo obudde okulaba Sebastian Loeb kye yali akola nti he excelled so quickly ne basalawo ne bagamba you know what tumuteeke in the top team.
Bad dropping Sodo.
Yes, exactly.
Sodo from the senior team.
Ne bagamba katuteekewo Oje. At the time ne tugamba nti no, I think Citroen has
Yanguiza.
they have hurried that Papier. I think it's actually very clear anti Papa. Kuba walaba some of the rallies Oji yali avuganga bulungi nnyo kati nga as a competitor n'agamba nti yeah I am beating the master. Nagwa. Okiraba naye nga in all that yali ayiga. I don't know over it is something kyebakuzaamu ba French drivers engeri kuba I was lucky enough okubeera nti nagendako e France nendaba event yaabwe in France I had the opportunity of talking to the federation members in France. Okimanyi nti France balina close to 100 rallies in a year. Ate nga kwezo 100 eziri main zirimu nga 10 but grassroots nga Twitter CRC1 oba autocross bebasinga okuvuga. So ekyo kikulaga nti the growth of drivers in Europe especially in France is so huge. So for me it's surprising okulaba how Loeb dominated, how Oje came and dominated because that is the culture that the federation in France has brought forward.
Yeah, I recently we had the first round of the National Karting Championship. Nenda the guys won awali ku kart says I'm okay Bebeto didn't drive yavuga cool but he gave us an interview ngamubuza about the impact of him doing karting in relation to the Najam competition and this is a very good starting point. Yeah, track Antonio you have less time to think. Riding you have some bit of you can really counter and get back. Now so if you can get this knowledge noji tuza moli. That's why the guy is driving the N12 like he's driven it before. Yet it's his first year when he's driving that car. We have got the run next for the autocross. Of course, for the French were in that setup, which you don't have here. Shinzo Kubanga maybe trying to replicate what the French do, even other European countries. Is the karting, then the autocross, yes, then you don't get more.
And also, ne gundi bavuganyo rallycross because in Europe the least expensive motorsport activity or discipline josobola okweta wamu ye rallycross. Kubanga ba omanyi botulira waliwo videos ku YouTube zotulira of European rallies nolaba baganga bavuga Volvo. Zivolvo batata bafeze bavuganga ebisere bizalinga base. Naye nga ate mu Europe bazivugira ddala rally car proper. Kati ezo Volvo ezo zolaba very cheap. Ogula Volvo B. Emu n'ogiteeka mu kg eyendala ng'egenda ku feedinga spares. Eyo ng'osobola ogivuga season number in rallycross. Ate kati nga bw'ogambye like cutting short distances, quick reaction time. Exactly the same thing with rallycross. I think the rallycross is a mix between tarmac and gravel. So, you know, a very instinctive change of surface, you know, quick thinking. They do it so much in Europe.
Well, there's one other guy, member secretary, he's called Kazore Emmanuel. Alimu IT department avuga nnyo akola nnyo agenda nnyo mu karting kati abadala abanyo times ngazi comparing n'abaana bali mu competition ya karting bana mugaba sasula okompete ngamba akasogale bakola so kati balaba time difference wakati we na jakola there's a corner ku Miraki gye bamukubiramu so yakaji practicing ando nakati jali katukomewa. All right, we'll be back from that short commercial break. We're into our last segment of today's program, which of course happens to be the 28th day of April 2025. Nzeke shumaliza program na Aaron Samba ne Enoch Olinga. Team Pilipili yimuli ubira ku watulaba.
Team Pilipili jetuli banange
muli mcha Team Pilipili
jetuli nnyo mwebale kuwagira mwebale eddala muyongere okuwagira tubagala nnyo tubagalira ddala ne wankowadde temulira bingi bivaayo naye nga jetuli banange
ndamo bawubirako
bawubidde ku
mapya kyagaliyo
abapya galiyo tuli officially kaswa but yeah of course tulina betufumba as you know in the world of motorsports tubera kaswa
ya Team Pilipili efumba mpafu member after bazifumba zirajeje kale unakulana partial part of Africa rally ya singidwa ali ku Still Hotel Mesambia tubaddeyo tukatufune ku malobozi agaba clerk of the course mgochi seto mayanja neba computers wala abagenda taking a part more events then tukomewo tubayise mu ku isodo kwanga ibera ku launch a prestigious event which is upon us from the 9th up to the 11th of May 2025.
Ekyokubiri nti rally kumpi yonna eri closed. Wengamba okubeera closed temuliimu mmotoka ndala zigenda kubanga nazo zikozesa ekkubo kuba tugenda kuvugira mu National Park. Nsuubira competition okubeera ey'amaanyi ate nga ffenna tugenze ku neutral ground. Tewali wajja kugamba nti local oba foreigner alina experience mu route ezo. N'olwekyo nsuubira competition ennungi.
I'm ready for the Pearl of Africa Rally 2025 edition that is taking place between the 9th and 11th of this month, which is actually next week. Yeah, this time around, I think our sponsor has done us proud. Our sponsor has bankrolled us all the way, and our supporters should expect something big, especially that we are now in another, I would say, in another rally car. We are driving the Mitsubishi Evo 10. We are actually ready for the homeboys as well as our counterparts coming from Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, and everywhere else. So with our car upgrades, I think we could be doing, I would say we could be doing a little better, but I wouldn't exactly say that because even our Mitsubishi Evo 9 is equally strong. But we shall keep doing what we do, and we are going for Podium. We are going for a national podium in Mbarara, and I think we can make it. We did it in Rwanda, Mountain Gorilla Rally 2024, so we can do it here again.
Timu yaffe etegese bulungi. Terina nnyo buzibu buli awo. Obuzibu bw'erina bwakulinda lunaku lwa kuvuga. So twetegese bulungi. Emmotoka yaffe ekyali mpya yakadda era kyemmanyi nti egenda kukola bulungi n'abawagizi bennyini bagimanyi nti egenda bakolera bulungi, so bakuwe bukubi nduulu. Embala tugenda kukola bulungi, sijebye Masaka mwalimu vulugu mungi wamulalaale batubba nnyo. Kati kyova olaba nti twagaye katugende ku neutral ground eyawa ey'Embalala nga teri yagamba nti ate nze nategese kuba omaye okutegeka driver yategeka ate ye muvuzi nawo n'obeera ggwe era n'oba omunyiigi olekamu akantu ogamba nange n'alibadde nze tomanyi nali kikoze naye kati gye tugenda teri mutegesi ffenna buli badriver amakubo sinsi ndi buli omu wagenda oyita so sigasuubira kuba mabi n'abakoze amakubo tebayinza kutuwa mabi kyemmanyi gajja kuba gatukolera ffenna nga bwe tuli. Ekirungi nti teriko zino leke ze bakolakoleza ki ezabulkanaku leke za amateeka geeti bagisibye teri gamba nti oli yagigudde kati awo tugenda kuvuga kyenkanyi. RC jola ogiwangula si kyangu. First of all etaaga ssente okusooka, buli kimu kitambulira ku ssente. Nange ne wongamba akatugenda tukivuge nja kugatugere naye ssente sizirina. Kati so muwanje yawangula terunafuna muddugavu ndowooza alina ssente kwenkana za muwanje kyensuubira era tulina omu akwediti munnange era enkyaka gavumenti negamba nti ayagala jje sinsi yo gavumenti eba ne ssente tukeera bukeezi tusogiwangula naye ssente zikwaki kankubireko kimulaali buli muntu abeera kompititawo ate era abeera w'amaanyi kyoba omanya so togayanga omuntu oyinza okubeera muloka nebukako omupiira wali oba okyaguzako yatuyu nekuyitako yaba takubye adito buli omu abe tomugaalirira era oba ovuga togambako nti ate onajja kukola ki okujjako nga tomanyi bumanya naye buli omu aba asobola okuwangula. Byonna bwe mba nvuga emmotoka kankikubuulire nze nvuga ebintu ebi ekisooka kuvugira buwagizi kyekisooka nze oba nvuddemu naye nga muwagizi wange anyumiddwa sina buzibu kwate bonna kibagenda kumpayo nnyo naye aziro ngazi omuwagizi akoze ki ekyokubiri kuba kumalako jagola kubanga nze mba njaga kuvuga kunyumirwa so si kuwangula nomba okunyumirwa mvuga naye nga okusooka kunyumirwa.
I believe it's going to be a very nice event. There is already a lot of threats from Kenya. The drivers locally have also come up in big numbers to register for the event. And the fact that it's going to run on a new terrain for the very first time, that is in Western Uganda, in Mbarara, I believe it's going to be a very, very, very big event, and we are calling upon the Podium in Mbarara to wait for the event. Yeah, my message to my fellow drivers is, number one, first of all, a safe event is a good event. So safety comes first, but at the same time, you know, rallying is rallying. When you're in there, it's like you get dressed up by something that is not you really, and you go out all out to push. So I'm calling upon our drivers to give the Kenyan drivers, in particular, Karan and his bunch, his team that is leading, we're going to give them a run for their money. That I can assure them.
We are excited once again to partner with the Federation of Motorsports Clubs of Uganda to host this event, the Pearl of Africa event that will be held in Mbarara from the 8th to the 10th of May 2025. We're excited as KCB, and our cash contribution is 80 million shillings, and we just can't wait to actually be part of this event to see how our drivers and also those that we've invited enjoy the sport during all the different events that are going to happen throughout the season. So once again, we look forward, and we also appreciate, and we sincerely extend our thanks to the Federation for continuously encouraging young blood.
Nungi nnyo ekyokubiri nti rally.
Alright, ebimu ku malobozi abakulu abadde mu launch afunye mukulu Kintu Mayanja, mukulu gali close n'ebirala Duncan Mubiru. Really takes interviews, by the way. Yeah, it takes interviews.
It's a plus.
It's a plus.
Very big plus.
Moroke baddeo atuwadde atusenaga interview munkoye mugamze kimala nagamba n'obo njagala mwenda w'ekiro gyali, so abagala okukola interviews ku Duncan is really fully available, but nevertheless Byron nagamba nti our competitors, the Kenyan bunch that Karen Patel was the one who dominating, and if you look at the past winners of the Pearl of Africa rally over 2000. Okay, maybe 2000. Okay, 2010. No was going down memory lane. Since we started the what you call the R cars, the R5s, Manville 2017. He dominated 2017, 2018, 2019. Mama picked up home stadium. I think ya Chitwe ne Adam Rauf Kisunsu yabalekera bulamu ya basse ekino dominant kweyo sigundi kuwangula stage Manville kulekera bano bulamu abamu epiki then 2017 18 19 nawangula Manville then 20 you had the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. 2021 the same thing. 2022 ne tujja you had that championship emundo ezikyasinze okunyuma
2021 yavugiwa just mangat
21 22 just 22
yes
Gomez wangula championship ya ERC
yeah 22
naye the what okay chalo maybe Africa mu 2021 yali the Kenya Safari Rally the return baba ino kwa 2020 COVID na bali message in 21 baba nayo I remember wagende Kenya but again there's a presidential speech a presidential address but again no wanayogera one ajja kugalawo batandike ku agenda okugalawo bali kubona nabaga omukulu agadde bagamba agenda okwogera nga tunakusana ne basala ne bayingire Kenya but the 22 wainjogedde konti it's a year when you had another championship on the African Rally Championship level ya nyuma.
Yeah.
Because zile za Manville yazi dominating anga ni esatu. Ndoza chize kuna ya 2015 ya chateji ya wangu la kujase sing. Another battle. 22 Gomez ne Patel. Another battle. 23
the emergence of KP
of KP. Karan Patel na ye. 23 yachigeza ko Chigana 23 Najja 24 still very dominant of him. So I think it's been a championship. ARC brings a lot. Last year proud to say crew yafe according to the start order twagenda ogenda mu Pearl. I think it's twagenda ogenda mu Pearl nga crew yaffe yekulembedde National Rally Championship. Era apart from the top 6 cars ezali eza ARC, we were the first car on the NRC.
Oh, congratulations.
I mean,
amafukule ngajjeyo start list we yafuluma wali
start list no because
apipidde
bali race babala nnyo. Launch over there, what are your hit and message in that launch?
Soka cha byonna nti tufunye ku change of where we usually host our launches. In a way, it's a corporate image we are pulling here. Sponsorships ezisinga tetuzisanga nnyo mu kikajjo. When you start going corporate like this, corporate place, corporate image comes out, coming out. But what happened at Mitchell? Yeah. What was that launch? Rally? Someone picks interest. So that is a positive agenda of Mchine Chitwich Soka. The event is upon us. It's only tubali naku 15 byali myaka kati miezi. Now there are days. And surely we are in there. A sneak peek. Ngadi seriously wagambye. Routes are quite closed. Apart from those at one stage, tutiro kola bulijjo ya jebatumyemu legend Moses Rumala ye a bit open. Nezi endala had Charles Muhanji eri 80% closed. Kaguta is 100% closed. Then Ankole Cow is 100% closed. So ate without manyama kuboge marala, they are quite smooth routes. I can say tell you that 100% smooth. It's a challenge rally. Mulimuko ku wetaga technical understanding. I need to know kwebulira nganzo omuntu mpitewo, then I can recover whatever I've lost here on other places. So basically I can say the rally is 90% smooth. So bwengo mvuza aliye kole motoka. You know, rallies are never won on the track. They are won in the workshop. Motoka benava mu workshop nga nonji no jita ku track eri. Nade ngamba no muntu omuntu tewetaga na shock absorbers zinezamu zirayigazi zikola amanyo gali. Teka muzi bill stain. You can come and come out on the stage.
Okay, abali ku Fat TV tuli privilege onako right kwa twegatidwako. Ewango lako Pal of Africa Rally 2016 record. Pleasure hosting you. How does it feel to have on the rally? Oh, amazing. Mind your accent? Amazing. I mean, winning an international rally with Pal of Africa. You want that event? I mean, you still have those memories? You cherish them?
For starters.
Yes.
Money we usually build the pressure. But we have stages. Whatever day one we would we have day 2 because we have bingi stages so to different. We have day yokusatu. Tuza yo biri. Kati emu but valid. Njagala otuweka. How does it feel? Got 2 stages to go. And actually you're leading the power of Africa.
The moment najiri moko mbala last year wage bali twice ujibaleked. In fact they did win that rally because they were the better team, because twabaleka bawangula rally. The first time driving the I-20 wano in the rally namusajja hadde mu lupapula tubaleka ne batwala. So katwagenda mu power stage nga njagala egwerawo singa transport waffe tuna video ya on board. The way we drove that transport, it's like walking down the aisle. Twagenda mpola walking down the aisle pocket to a full stage. Tugenda kuyikanya nto parkinga nengerako ne move ndeba kamuko.
Yeah, I mean eyo memory emu kunyingi zenina etasobola kunva mu mutwe nti paka na leero sobola okutwala step by step of that entire rally, the 2016 Pole of Africa.
Can you auction that trophy? Joge tukujemu.
Obadde ki? Olaba ne suuti eyawangula baali paka nakati erina weeri egenda yingira place.
Ndoza Moses Kumala yakogedde. Charles Muhanji ne rally yakola ebisheni eyo yasimbawo ekikopo kye ekya ARC. The whoever wins that stage akitwala Charlie yakimutwala kera yakirina.
Sure
amukuba
temana replica
yamukwa stage yamukuba naga lete change
iyo idea nungi anawangula power of Africa rally locally nganchimuwa
alhamdulillah
overall
ngama ngapi ya chiwango 2020
nganchimuwa I will let it go
naye kati kona ati bali kati saa ya kweso
yes Nega I mean a rally very very big privilege okuyingira international event atenga international event yali nyangu twalina Munasing Junior yali azze twalina Don Smith ne yaliwo
Shama Muhammad
Dani Furia kana yenga
these times were good by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Even finished 5th overall.
Yes, I believe so. 5th overall, yeah. Atenga ne locally, you know,
the team was good.
Exactly. Abantu abali mabega otyo bali bangu Sebuguzi Desh Kananura at the time, you know. So waliwo amanyi mangi era okulaba nti twavuga event eyo. Ate by the way kekade ne Alpha Blick Junior yali absolutely hot. Yali
because he came second behind you guys.
Yes, you know. So
the rally anyway one of the highlights things you guys are kwela bia is transport. Circuit yali Busika. Then transport yali from Silver Springs Hotel to Mubende. Right?
Yes.
Ekirala Kefa Walubi.
Yes.
That's when he debuted the Evo 10. Unfortunately, bagwa navuga mokanga ne bamemaso tukola. Emoke Rashid Makumbi yajina.
Waliwo kasole kwera bidawo nti webagwa basoka ne bavuga kilomita emu opposite direction neba. That is valid. Nega it's an absolute privilege. Your memory it is Chester sobola kwelabira era buli bwenfuna chance nga sobola okunyumya story eyo njinyumya bulungi reminisce myself nostalgia you know chali kintu kyamaanyi nnyo okulaba nti twagenda okuwangula rally eyo actually nga yali season ya fesose mu four wheel drive car over the time Hassan yali akava mu Runex in 2015 the twingira 2016
I know Always Corner Jinja formerly social ground Always Corner.
Yes, you know, ate season egeri twagitandika step by step, you know, nekitalabikanga abali bagenda exactly abali bagenda okubeera contenders kubando Zambarara I think obatu amayoba mu kyamukaga was something to begin the season, you know. Naye moving forward from there performance negendanga yeyongerako waliwo ne bali just sobola kwelabira ya Rakai yeah drive shaft mukoti somewhere you know
is when that was the second event when Duncan was driving the rally at
another memorable rally in Kabale. Nayo yatugendera bulungi nyo actually. Because performance yatanika from Kabale. From Kabale onwards.
Very good.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Kabale twali ku Podium
Municipal Stadium.
The Municipal
Stadium, exactly. So from there ebintu ne bitandika okufolinga in place. Bwe twagerera okuyingira the Pearl of Africa. Twali tetwetegekeranga ko rally like that time. In fact, I can remember very clearly the driver wange a little bit more nervous than usual. Inti twagenda okuyingira the week before the rally. Everything we need to do was already done. That is how prepared we were. Ate kinzizayo mu kintu Aaron Chagambye, assistant clerk of the course PAL 2025. Inti mutegeke motoka. Twagenda okuyingira the week before PAL okugenda mu reki.
Nga 14 eri waggulu. Baji banise.
Erinze start line. So preparation eri very key. Era twakirabirawo after the first two stages leading the rally by I think 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something, you know. So from there onwards, the early case of how do you maintain this lead now? Make sure you're pushing, but you're not pushing beyond the limits. Exactly. Temulimu kugendamu too much risk. Actually, as you can mu stage emu nera bidelinya lya ndoza ero nasobola okujikira kuba memory ero ni mu rally is quite amazing. Stage yomu chai yomajani yes
Kaweri coffee
inti twagirimu kilomita 5 netusanga Lutopena. But the fact that we were so prepared for the rally temwali mu panic. Nti twasanga Lutopena netujitako bulungi yadde somehow exactly we lost a little bit, but twali confident, twali comfortable, and that is why to date your rally very very high standard kusaidia yange. It's very memorable, I can never forget.
So the event has been launched. We'll definitely get back next week. Hope you serve the same panel next week. We talk more entry list. Yes, I could
Speaking from experience.
Anyone you want to replace him with?
Well, not closely from memory, man. You know, chiroza muko.
Where I need to be, you can even set a deal.
It's a deal.
That's only bad for you guys. We'll definitely get back next week. That's what the memory is there. One memory is a pal in a sentence.
Sina nyingi. By the way, actually ndoza nyinja kuba musanyufu nnyo. Last year is the only pal I've managed to complete.
Oh, nice. Obugalo. Si yangu banaye. Tuno kuwa
obugalo. Pal I managed to complete. Otherwise, mbadde mfuna obuzibu ne pali.
Ate waji completing. No, mayo era wamazekera gali kusimanya mu demote ale anyway, that's all about for you guys.
Nafunza. Sebo, tutujja kwirabira nawe. Memory from the Pole of Africa Rally.
Yeah, memory from the Pole of Africa Rally. There are two. One, last year, as we were heading in for PAL, we were leading the National Rally Championship. That's a plus for me. Number two, we are the first crew on the road on the National Rally Championship. That's a plus for me. Number three, I had a lot of time with foreign crews and any other local crew. I don't have an accent out of Nangaba. Bangaba muduka nyo. Let me say your first notes. So I saw him adjusting his first notes. I'm so